What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Cervantes Podcast. Joining me today to discuss abortion, the overturning of Roe v. Wade, and the future of women's reproductive rights is Iona University alum with a bachelor's degree in chemistry, medical scribe at Summit Health CityMD, and pre-medical student Jamilah Sullivan. How are you doing today, Jamilah?
Hungry, as you can see, I'm eating, but I'm feeling good. I'm really excited to be on your podcast. I've been seeing you doing your thing for a few now, so I'm happy to, come in and
Yes.
bless the show.
Thank you so much. And for those who don't know, I went to Iona with Jamila a couple years ago, and she was the president of VSU, which I was a member of. Fun fact for
Yes.
everyone. So back in June of this year, the United
Hmm.
States Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, the 1973 High Court decision that had given women the right to abortion across the United States. The latest ruling effectively returns abortion decisions to the states. What was going through your head when you first heard the news about Roe v. Wade being overturned?
So when I first heard that it was like a possibility to be overturned, I was like so mad. I was like, I can't even believe that we're like going back in time, literally. But I feel like I didn't take it as serious as like I should have because I kind of just thought like no way they're gonna like overturn one of the biggest decisions in women's health history. And then when it happened, I was literally at the barbershop with my boyfriend, just sitting in the car. He was getting his haircut. And when it happened, like the actual ruling got passed, I literally just cried because I'm like, I cannot believe that this just happened. Like, do you know how much is at risk? Like, it doesn't just stop at abortion. This is like the beginning to attacking women over and over and over and over again. So it just was a lot. I didn't think that they would do it. And so blatantly, like especially with all the exceptions about like rape and just when the mother could pass away. It just was like a big slap in the face and just overall L for the United States, honestly.
Right. I'm sure a lot of women can agree with you. A lot of people can agree with you because it's
Hmm.
like you think I always think that we made some progress and then it's like the country reminds me it's like nope, no we didn't.
Nope.
Like we
Nope.
thought, we always say we thought we made progress with Obama and during those 8 years to me, I think
Hmm.
my parents always knew what was up. But I think to me
Yeah.
it was like, oh, this is what are my parents talking about? This is
Yeah.
go to school in New Rochelle, like so we think we've come so far and then we really didn't, especially
It's
like
like a
having
pump fake almost. Yeah.
yeah, and especially a couple years ago a lot of women, well a lot of women were sworn in into Congress, so I was like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, like things are going to be different. And it's like it, but in this specific case I think it was the fact that there's more of them than us in the Supreme
Hmm.
Court,
I was just about to say that. Yep.
and we have Katanji now, but it's still majority Republican, and people just who don't really care about women's rights.
Women's health. Yeah.
So, do you think? Oh no, I was gonna ask you that later, but I think you're right. This rule being overturned means that it's not just abortion that's at risk; it's contraceptions that are at risk, and I think it's definitely about controlling women's bodies
Exactly.
because why are men creating why are men deciding what women do with their own bodies? And I get
It it's just like we don't have any other laws like that. Like you can't tell me another law that's about a specific part of your body.
no,
And which you can't like it's just weird. Like why are you making a law about what I have? It doesn't
it doesn't
it
make
doesn't click
sense.
for me. Yeah, it just doesn't click for me, especially when I feel like there's so many people who are saying the things that they're saying in the name of like religion, and I feel like it's a touchy subject, and you can't just bring in religion like, oh, God said this, like it's the end all be all, and it's like that's literally not how reality works. Yeah, I just think
Whew.
it's just awkward. Like I couldn't really figure it out at first, like why they're going back to this. Like when we first encountered Roe v. Wade, it made sense because there were a lot of underground abortions happening, and it was a topic of its time. You know what I mean? Now it's kind of just like what? Like I couldn't even figure out why we're going backwards to figure that out. Like it has nothing. There's so much more issues in the country that we should be worried about, and worried about women's health.
There's so many things to say, and I don't even know where to start. But yeah,
And
there's
yeah, and
gun
then it's like,
control.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly. More importantly, when you have the baby that they're forcing you to have, healthcare is 0 out of 10. Do not recommend. Benefits for your kid, non-existent. Maternity leave, question mark. Like, you forcing me to have a kid that could quite possibly not have the best life that they could have if I had the choice to not do this now and do this later. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I don't agree with the law at all. I'm not on board with it.
Going back, there's a lot of points. There's a lot of points I want to touch on. I think going back to what you said about the religious standpoint, that is a very hot topic, and I think I'm Christian, and there's a lot of things I disagree with within my religion, and I think that what do I want to say first? I think that it's unfair. It's unfair to like push your religion. It's okay to practice what you want to practice and believe what you want to believe, but it's unfair to push your beliefs on a whole country when we all know that it's not just Christians in America. There's Muslim, there's
Exactly.
Jewish, there's atheists, there's so many, and then within Christian, there's so many. Like Jehovah's Witnesses are
Other
very different than
categories,
Catholics.
exactly.
You know, so it's very. I don't think it's fair to push your religion on the whole country when there's different people, and then also it's like this is also a men's issue too. This episode is women's reproductive rights, but this involves abortion involves men too because you can't make a baby by
Maybe
yourself.
without, exactly, yeah.
So
You can't.
men have to
But
care too.
but that's why, like, I remember we were speaking about the uptake in the vasectomies, and I feel like that's men's job. Like, a friend of mine not too long ago, we were talking about like if the possibility if like he was to ever get a girl pregnant, and I literally told him, like, because he was saying like if he don't want to have a baby, like he's not having that baby, and I'm like, well, yes, literally not your choice. Like, if she decides to be like, well, I'm having the baby, welcome to fatherhood. Like, there's nothing that you can do about that. You either accept it or you don't, and that's going to be a judgment of your character. So I told him, like, if you're really that serious about not having a kid and you feel like you wouldn't take care of a kid because you don't deal with the mom or whatever the case may be, then get a vasectomy. Like, and he was like, you want me to cut my penis off? Like, and I'm like, is that what men really think a vasectomy is? Like, is that what y'all think it is? You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's literally not what it is. I had to literally Google.
That's
I literally went on
exactly.
I went on PubMed and I literally sent them an article like, this is what a vasectomy is, and it's literally reversible. Like, if you're that serious about not having kids and you don't want to slip up, get a vasectomy. Why would you even chance it? Like,
yeah, or wear a condom.
it's like a permanent condom. If you ask me, why would you even try to chance it? Just literally get a vasectomy. Like, I just kept saying it to him, like, get a vasectomy, get a vasectomy, get a vasectomy, because there's nothing like I can't have a deadbeat friend. I told him that, like, I'm sorry, I can't claim you if you become a deadbeat. Like, we have to sever ties. You know?
And that's important because I think
Yes.
it's so. I try to be uplifting. I try to be very, with this podcast, be uplifting, be positive. But it pains me to see so many like the baby mama culture in the Black community and the Latino community. It pains me to see because I feel like I don't see that in other communities. And why is that such a thing? Not as blatant, I should, yeah. And if you choose to bring a child into this world with somebody, whether you like the girl or not, or you like the guy or not, it's like, take care of that child.
It's about the child. Exactly.
It's about the child. I never understood that. Like, it's like F her and F the child too. Like, no, it shouldn't be like
and it's crazy because I feel like that's a big point when we talk about like abortion rights. You cannot tell somebody that they're ready to have a child. Like, you cannot just tell them like, hey, all right, it's your turn. You're up. Like, no, that's not how it works.
No,
especially with like young girls who get pregnant because of rape or like a family member rapes them or something. I follow so many doctors on like Twitter who are OBs, and they talk about the experiences they have with young girls who come in and are pregnant and the stigma that surrounds their life. And then on top of that, now you have to keep the baby. Like, their life is already shitty.
You're just making it
and
worse.
now you want them to introduce a new life into the fucked up life they already have.
It's just not. It's not a good. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make
Have you
sense.
ever seen that video of the Roe v. Wade, of the people outside of Planned Parenthood, and he kicks her? The kick video.
No.
You never seen that video?
No.
When he like does like a little turn and then the kick. Oh my god, I love that video. It's about Roe v. Wade protesters. Well, not even Roe v. Wade. I think it was pro-life.
Oh, those people who protest outside.
Yes, outside of Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Do you guys really think that you're like doing something? Like, basically, like you think people who are raped and tortured should bring that person's child into the world?" Like, asking them, and they were just saying the dumbest response ever, and he literally just like,
I love that.
Kicked them. Like, I loved it. It was the best video ever. When you find it, I need you to insert it right here. Play.
No, I'm gonna show it to you guys and comment below if you know what. Comment below if you know what Jamilah is talking about, because I need to see that. But I agree, because
10 out of 10.
I just don't. There's so many things I want to say. My mind is like clouded. I just think it's not fair, and I think it shouldn't be such an extreme of sexual assault, and you're forcing the woman to have a child. It should just be, hey, I can't afford it, or hey, I just don't want to, because it's not that people are pro-abortion, they're pro-choice.
My thing is, how are you pro-life, but you're willing to death penalty in some states women who are traveling to get abortion? Like, pro-life or pro-control? Like, which are we trying to do here?
Or the Republicans who are hypocrites, like Herschel Walker, who is so anti-abortion, but then paid for several women. I thought it was just one.
Yeah,
several women.
About 13, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
And then he had an interview, I think on NBC, that the lady was like, "Is this your signature?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm not sure," and puts on his glasses, and then, "Oh yeah, I think that is." So are you pro, like what you said, are you pro-abortion or are you not? And why are the Republicans choosing him to be the spokesperson and be their person? Is it diversity? Is it like, I don't get it. Out of all,
it's like, oh, let's platform this Black man who is gonna say he is for taking away abortion rights, and we're gonna use him to target like the Black community. He has exactly 13 aborted kids. Like, literally, he pays for abortion.
The Republican Party
to happen. Like, I don't understand how that happens.
I don't. And then there was a guy, I forgot his name, but he like was with Herschel Walker in a video saying like, you should vote for this Black man because it's
such an agenda.
Yeah,
like that's similar to like DEI initiatives in medicine. Like, we're gonna post these stock photos of these Black people on our website, and we're gonna tell you that we have diversity, and then when you get here, you'll be the only one who's Black. Like,
it's like that in college. It's like that in hospitals. I'm hearing now. That's crazy. That's insane.
Yeah, it's such an agenda. I just think that everybody should have the right to choose. Like, I don't understand what it is. Why is it an obsession with controlling what we're gonna do with the child that we laid down and made? Like, and that's something that I feel like is such a condescending thing. They say, like, pro-lifers, like, oh, well, like, you knew what you decided to do when you laid down. Like, some people just want to have sex. Like,
some people just want to, like,
the baby is the byproduct. Like, that doesn't happen every time you lay down and have sex. If we're being quite honest, there's only like 24 to 48 hours where you can actually even get pregnant. Whether like on your cycle, when you're fertile, there's about a nice 48-hour window where you're like guaranteed pregnancy.
Right. And there's people who
the rest is really just a gamble. Like, it can happen to literally anyone. So to tell somebody like, oh, you shouldn't be having sex if you don't want to have a kid, it's like, okay, you fucking party pooper. Like,
and I just don't think that's realistic. I don't think that's realistic. Oh, so you're having sex every time
just to have kids.
I don't
like
believe
every
that.
time you lay down and have sex is to recreate.
I don't believe that.
Spare me. Like, spare me. Please spare me.
And on one hand, women can travel to other states to get an abortion, but women who have low income most likely cannot do this, which is really unfortunate. So I think that
And police is monitoring them across state lines, asking them like, oh, where you going? If they're traveling with like young girls, they're like monitoring them,
wow.
like, hey, what are you doing? Like, there's tons of stories where people are like plastering it online. Like when the law was passed, there were so many women coming speaking out about their trauma, because it's like, even at CVS's, like they're asking you about contraceptive, like, oh, what are you using this for? Like plan B
Wow.
questions. Like, aren't you just a pharmacy? Like, I'm supposed to be here to just pick up the medication that was prescribed by the doctor. Like, if it wasn't safe, then I would have never got it. Like, let me get my stuff and go, please.
And is that,
But
and you think, is that a legal thing, or you think it's who they're being funded by, CVS?
I think it's just an employee like basis thing. Like there are
Oh,
some CVS's are, I feel like let me not misspeak. I think it's CVS or Walgreens. They were like not trying to give contraceptives anymore over the counter. I
wow.
remember seeing an article about that. And I was just like kind of shocked, because I was like, this is one of the major like pharmacy chains in all of America. Like, how are you just gonna be like, nah, we're not doing that? And I think it was in Tennessee and somewhere else. They were like that they're gonna be monitoring contraceptive like pickup. Like,
Oh, I think I heard that. Yeah.
and that's the thing that I don't understand. Why would you not want me to have contraceptives if you want me to choose wisely when I'm supposed to have the baby? What, like,
That
there's
part.
literally no sense being made in the entire law about women's health. It's just like, nah, we want them to do this and they better listen, or we're taking everything away.
It's very, very scary.
Yeah, bill us
time.
$50K to have a baby. And the average salary is $32,000 in the US. I'm 18,000 short.
And there's people who didn't know that. According to this Harvard professor, she tweeted, I think last year, she asked her class, hey, her business, I think economics class or whatever. She asked her class, hey, how much do you guys think the medium income is in America for the average person?
Yeah.
Her Harvard class thought that the average income for a person is $100,000 a year.
Because why would they think anything different?
So
that's the world they live in. That is their world, where nobody makes under 6 figures.
when the average income is, you said less than 50, less than 40?
It's like 32,000 to 36,000.
Yeah, I think we need some work to do. And it sucks that the Supreme Court, everyone else is voted on. President, House of Representatives, Senator, your mayor, all that's voted on. The Supreme Court, it's appointed by the president, and
the people who makes the choice. Yes, and they stay for life. And I feel like that's so like, it's a gift and a curse if we got the right people in there. But I feel like what's even more crazy is like the fact that the people who currently hold those positions have once voted on the side of democracy. And it's like, were you lying? Like, were you?
Right.
Did you like try to play us this whole time, or what? Or did you once upon a time like really feel like that, and now you're just like, nah?
Like, was it Trump that gave them the courage to like?
There was so many of them that were like, oh, like in their they have like these like why am I losing the word? It's basically like an interview.
Okay.
When you become the judge, you know how
the confirmation hearings. Yeah.
Thank you, confirmation hearing. Thank you. There were so many of them in their confirmation hearing. They literally were like, "Oh no, I would never overturn Roe v. Wade. Like that's not even on my agenda. Like,
yes,
like I would never do that. Like who was even thinking of that? Like playing dumb." And then when it came,
and then it was leaked.
Now you're ready to do this in 2.5 seconds.
First it was leaked, their decision, and then it came out. I was like,
and
wow.
That's what I was saying. The leaked document of it, I was like, no, this is not real. Like, this is one of those social media gotcha moments where they're like, oh, we're jeopardizing women's health. Like,
There's a
you know, the
joke.
new, yeah, the latest misogynistic bullshit happening in the US. This is this week's trend. Roe v. Wade possibly being overturned. I would never in a million years think that it would be overturned in so many states as well. Like, do you know how many states announced like right away, like, oh yeah, they overturned that. It's lit. You're done
Woo,
here. Like,
woo.
so this whole time you was pretending, like,
No, it was like the whole. I could be a little wrong,
literally,
but I
like,
thought it was the whole middle of the
if it was
country.
this box, it's like boom, up. Just the Northeast got sense, basically.
The
And
Northeast, California.
it's crazy because like I was saying to my boyfriend, like when I'm applying to medical schools, like now I gotta look at the states that I'm applying in because I'm on birth control. What if I go to CVS and they tell me, oh nah, we're not giving you your birth control? Like,
You gonna have 5 Jamillas? Oh no.
what am I gonna do? Like,
No, that's not fair. And I just
even
what hurt
training
me.
to be a OB-GYN, like I have to look in places who have, like Tennessee has Meharry Medical College and they're in Nashville. And I really like the program. I'm all for it. I love them. They're like one of the first, they actually were the first Black medical school ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the history behind Meharry basically is that or like the legend is basically that there was a white guy, his name is Samuel Meharry, and he was like stuck on the side of a road. And a Black family gave him shelter for that night during the height of the Civil War.
Okay.
And he was like, once he got like through the night, basically, he told them like, I'm gonna do something for your race one day. And as the myth goes, like about 30 years later, him and his brothers opened up or funded what was originally, I think, like Central Tennessee Medical Institution or something like that. And yeah, that's what Meharry Medical College is today.
Wow, that's amazing. I never knew
Yeah,
that.
so I'm like, this is one of the best schools to go to as a Black woman to be trained for medicine. And I'm all for it. But now it's in Tennessee, who just said that they don't fuck with women, basically. So if I chose to do OB-GYN and I want to get rotations in, am I ever going to see an abortion happen? Like,
Wow.
am I ever going to have that conversation with somebody and, you know, weigh their options and do what a great OB does?
Now that
Or
doctors are
or
at
is that
risk of
entire
getting fired
experience going to be obliterated from my medical career because
because doctors are
somebody
getting,
in the law told them that they can't have this happening now?
and you wouldn't want to get fired or lose your
No, but I was
license.
saying that to my like I was saying that to me and my boyfriend have like a lot of talk, so I always be like, oh, I'll be telling my boyfriend because we really talk about everything.
I love that.
So
I love that.
yeah, so I was telling him about basically there was like a discussion around Texas doctors about how a lot of stuff happening in Texas is surrounding their doctors, and the doctors of Texas spoke out and they were like, no, it's not us, it's the legislation. They actually don't let us do our jobs. Like, we will get fired if we do XYZ. And just personally, I feel like you just gonna have to fire me. You know me better than a lot of people that's gonna watch this podcast, and you know for sure I've never shut up about anything that I felt was
Unjust.
just unjust. Exactly. Like if
Yeah.
it didn't sit right with me, I'm gonna speak up about it. I don't care who I'm making upset. It doesn't bother me, like, because you didn't care when you was upset at me. So now why I'm gonna care when I'm responding?
And we need
No.
people like that. We need
So-
people like that. For
And
sure.
that's why I was just like, it's just a tough decision to make. You know what I mean? Like when you choose a medical, it's something you have to factor into that decision now, which is something that I've never even thought that I would have to do. Like I could possibly go to medical school and never see an abortion, and I want to be an OB-GYN. How that
How
sound?
does that make sense?
How that sound? People right now who's training to be OB-GYNs and states that overturn Roe v. Wade could possibly never see an abortion case again. How does that sound? But you're a OB-GYN.
That's a major part, not the only part, but the major part of your study in school. So
And women's health
Yeah.
is already understudied.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah,
I did not know that. Wow. Okay.
crazily understudied. Like
Like the research is
I think
low.
I think in recent years they found out that the clit has like 3,600 nerves or some shit like that. Like,
Yeah, no.
and there's like proof that the entire women's health like history, what we know about women's bodies, was done to like what was done by exploiting 3 Black women and their parts.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've
there's
heard
history
that.
on it. Yeah,
I've heard
you
that,
can
like
look it up,
testing on Black
literally.
women and like
And
testing
then
the
when
birth
that stopped
control.
working, guess what the fuck they did? They used men to study women in America's great patriarchy style. Because
They were
why the
using,
fuck?
wow.
Why are you using men to study women? They literally don't even have the same systems.
I need to do my research. I need to
That
do more
makes
research.
0 sense.
No.
But that's my thing. Like, y'all don't care about women's health on a daily basis, but when it comes to lawmaking, you want to make sure that we're under control. It's just weird. I don't
have
know.
so many questions for the U.S. government. Like, it's scary.
I'm just not surprised by anything they do anymore. Like, this was the biggest.
And
Okay,
then
yeah, they really don't care.
And then what hurt me was when like Clarence Thomas said that he wanted, like, this wasn't it. He wanted to do
Same-sex marriage.
same-sex marriage and the interracial one. I think Loving versus Virginia.
Yep.
Does he realize that he's married to a white woman?
I was just about to say that.
What's gonna happen to his
Mirror.
marriage?
You need to look in the mirror because you're gonna overturn your own marriage. If you're unhappy with Miss Sally, just say that.
I think her name is
If she's
Jenny.
not making you happy, Sally, Jenny, anything with the 2 syllables E.
No, like what's gonna happen?
If you're not happy with her, just say that.
How we go from
You don't
Thurgood
gotta
Marshall?
overturn the entire right.
How we go from Thurgood Marshall to Clarence Thomas? Like, I know he's
You know
rolling in
one
his
fact
grave.
that I learned about Thurgood Marshall when I watched the Marshall movie. Rest in peace.
Oh, Chadwick Boseman.
Thank you. I was about to say Wakanda. I just love calling him Wakanda, like, and that's totally not his name. But I'm literally just seeing like the Black Panther movie run in my head, and I'm like, I was about to say T'Challa, exactly.
I can't with you.
But yeah, I found out that Thurgood Marshall was denied from University of Maryland. Wow. I think that's what it was. University of Maryland, their law school, and they made him, because he wasn't like white, so they made him walk like an hour and a half to the other school that accepted Black people. And then when he became a judge, he literally overturned the rule in Maryland. Like, no, now you have to accept Black people. Like, yeah.
What a
and I was like, I love that. I love that for him. Like,
that's an amazing
body that. Yeah, like he bodied that.
I love that.
And then now we got Clarence on
how we go from
how we go from there to that. Like,
no, I think I initially wanted to not only feature women in this episode, but to include a male guest. And I had a friend who was like, no, I do not want to hear men speak on this topic. How do you feel about that? Do you care to hear men's, even though I said earlier, like, this is a men's issue too, do you care to hear men's thoughts on this?
The asshole in me is like, no. But I feel like it would be a little bit naive to think that, like, not that we need their help, but like it's always good to have the insight of who you're having the baby with as well. If they're like available and they're receptive to it, like, you know what I mean? I definitely think that, because I feel like it's traumatic for a guy to be excited about a kid and then the woman really doesn't want it, and then he's like, oh shit, like,
yeah,
I really wanted to have a baby. Like, that's trauma for them too. Like, I'm not saying fuck that, but at the same time, it's like, you're not going through everything that she's going through. So I feel like their role is really to just support and be there in any way that they can.
Yeah.
And to just not like blame them. Like, anybody, it doesn't have to be your significant other. It could be your sister. It could be your mom. It could be your aunt. It could be just a friend that you know. And I feel like being that support is everything that they need, because they don't need anybody else judging them, especially like a man. Like,
right.
I don't really want, that's the thing, like, nobody really wants your opinion. It's just a thing of like, are you gonna support me through this decision or not? And I feel like that's where they should come in. Be supportive. You could throw in a little feedback if that's okay with the woman, you know what I mean? But
right,
it's kind of like a sit there and shut up moment, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah.
On a social level, and I think on a political level, I think the men in power, since men occupy like the majority of power.
Mhm.
I think those men need to try to figure out a way to reverse the reversal of Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
You know?
Not only that, but like when you have such, I'm speaking on just like such a minor level, like
Right.
just what's going on between the person getting the abortion and their significant other, the men around them. But on a US level, like the men who are in the Supreme Court and in levels of power who can overturn things like this, it just doesn't hit them until it's somebody that's close to them. And I feel like that's something that's true with anything. Like a lot of people disagree with me on this. They hate this take, but I feel like men don't feel shit unless it happens to a woman that's close to them.
Oh,
Like
I've been said that. Yeah.
they do not process things how women do unless it happens to somebody that's close to them. Like us as women, we could feel really horrible. Like when I cried over Roe v. Wade, it was not just for possibly me. It was for me and all other fucking women in the country. Like I was terrified for all of us. And like,
Right.
not to say that there aren't men out there that are intelligent enough to think for everybody here and feel that too. But most men don't. They're just like, okay, like that doesn't like
Right.
that doesn't bother me type shit. Like,
No, yeah.
but
Like
then when
even
your
with
sister gets pregnant by XYZ and she wants to get rid of the baby and you see yourself judging her, it's like, oh, maybe Roe v. Wade was your business. Like maybe you should have read up on it and seen the benefits of being pro-choice.
yes, yes. This is the same conversation I had when I
Or if
did
your
a
daughter, God forbid, is raped by random man, which is not like this is everything I'm saying seemed like a reach many years ago, but the fact that we have social media now and can see that these things are not a reach, these are really things that's happening. Why would you ever want to like subject your family member to that? I just don't. I personally don't get that. It's kind of like the guy in the Uvalde school shooting. Rest in peace to all those kids that lost their life. He was like a big Kyle Rittenhouse stan.
mm,
Like,
okay.
oh yeah, gun laws are needed. Like fuck gun laws. Like we're supposed to carry. Like I'm not too clear on the gun shit, so I'm not even gonna get into that. I just think it's ignorant to think that regular civilians can carry guns. That's a whole other topic in itself.
Right,
I
that's a
actually
whole other
have
episode.
somebody. I actually have somebody that you should put up here because he was a Marine and
Oh,
he's
okay.
black and he has like he hosts classes on like educating black people on getting their gun license. So I'll give you his
Oh,
information
wow.
after. Yeah,
Thank
I went to
you.
high school with him and then he went to the Marines.
Thank
But
you. Yeah.
I just think that like in that situation, he was such a big stand of like, yeah, pro guns until his daughter was killed in Uvalde. And then he's like, oh shit, like gun control really matters. Like, yeah, that's what we were trying to tell you the whole time. And I feel like that's the same thing that happens with like abortion things that nobody like Herschel Walker. You out here talking about how you don't, you're, oh, I'm pro-life this, pro-life that. But when those side bitches was getting pregnant, abortion being legal was real convenient. About
Right.
not 1, 2, 3 times, but 13 times. It was real convenient for you, but you over here preaching to the masses about what you want the rest of American women to do. Come on. It's
Ooh.
it's it's a joke. It's really a
No,
joke.
that's the same mentality and conversation I had when I did the episode on I did an episode like about listening to black women and supporting black women, and then we spoke a little bit about the Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez thing, and that it's like
No,
I feel
LeBron, it's
bad.
Megan.
I feel bad for this person. It's like, why you feel bad?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know her. And I'm like, I shouldn't have to know her. And then it's like, oh, but if it was your sister that got shot, how would
Mm-hmm.
you feel? And people were telling her, oh, but you're still walking. And so did you really get shot? Like, how would you feel if your sister just got shot and then was being
Mm-hmm.
gaslighted? Oh, well, I would feel bad. Like, why does it? Yes, I should. Yes, maybe I
That's
shouldn't care
kind of
about a rich
why it's like
person, but
okay, fuck men's opinions because in the back of a lot of women's minds, it's just like you don't care unless I mean something to you.
I don't like that. And yes,
And
you know,
it's just true. Like as somebody who like has a lot of male friends, and I watch like how they move with females. No shade to my bros, because when y'all really like girls, you know y'all actually be showing out. But in general, like when we talk about topics and just things that I feel like, damn, I really thought y'all would like thought y'all would bring it home, you know, make me proud. It's like,
right.
damn, y'all still just men. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're still just a man and you don't have the ability to be empathetic in that way. And it's just quite sad, honestly. Like
why is it
why does it
hard?
have to be somebody you know to feel that? Like when one of these rappers get hurt over something and be talking shit about a girl, y'all internalize it like she hurt you too. You could feel that pain.
Yes.
King Von died, you could feel that pain.
Take off,
You
RIP.
could feel all the pain that happens to men, but when it's women, it's like suspect. Hold on, let's
I
think
don't
twice
get
on it.
it.
Like
I don't get it. I heard somewhere it's like men hate women but love you know what. And I'm like,
bitches,
wow, that's
they
so
love bitches.
true.
They love them because it's like, oh my gosh, she's
No,
not gonna come to me with this patriarchy shit. Like she's not gonna
no,
talk to me about
they hate
misogyny.
women, but they love vagina.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think
Because
that's
why not? But
sad.
there was also a guy on the podcast who was talking about how men don't really like women. Like you don't want to like take her out, make her happy, make her smile, like do XYZ. Like you actually don't like her enough to do that. You just want to have sex with them. And like if that's your motive, cool. Like just say that. That's why we was blessed with mouse.
Just be upfront.
Just be upfront. But like he made a really good point in that podcast though about how men don't really like women. Like you can accept a lot of shit when it's your bros, when it's like another man, but when it's a woman, it's like, oh, I could never imagine that. Like I could just never do that.
And
Why? Do you
that's so
not like do you
interesting.
not just like women in that capacity?
That's so
Yeah.
it's like
And then you
for
see it
all that.
when it gets built up and now that man who hates women so much is now a Supreme Court justice. And now he's
Woo,
making decisions for the entire country. Like this is what's happening on the low level when you're like, oh,
woo.
just let him rock, let him feel that way. No, this is who these guys become. They excel in hating womenry.
But do you
Like,
think if we had a woman president, more women in the Supreme Court, and more women in Congress, that things would be different?
yeah, more of the right women.
Right.
Cause I feel like in the Roe v. Wade overturn, there were like 2 women that voted for it to be
Right.
overturned. Like, do you not have a vagina? Like, I know you kind of old. It might be some cobwebs down there, but you still have a vagina, ma'am. And you're gonna sit here and tell the rest of these people up here that they can control it. So I feel like more of the right women there
Right.
would
Yeah.
definitely make a difference. I feel like female presidency is something that we just not gonna see because
You
we
think
let
so?
Trump be a president
Okay.
over Hillary Clinton. It's Hillary. Like, let's be honest. She is not top tier woman, but it's Hillary. Like,
And it's just so
it's
crazy.
Hillary. And you chose Trump. Like, so I was at work, right? There's a girl getting trained, and she's from the Ukraine. But it's crazy because I was being a typical American, hearing the accent, and I'm like, oh, where are you from? Like, is it like Russia or something? Because she had like one of those accents that like drag their S's, and you know what I mean
Okay.
when you watch
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
Serbian movie or those guys from Powers that Tommy and Ghost had beef with. You know what I
Yes. Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
She spoke like that, and I'm like, damn, where's she from? Like Russia? So when I said it to her, and it was like obviously the worst fucking guess ever because Russia and Ukraine are at war right now. So when I said it to her, she was like, no, I'm from Ukraine. Like, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? And then I just try to like make a joke like, oh yeah, like at least you're not American. Like, ah. And she was like, yeah, because who would ever want to be that? And I was like, not eating me up. Like,
That's amazing.
like, damn. This is how y'all view us in America? Like, we're jokes?
No,
Got
yeah.
it.
I
Like,
think we definitely
okay.
are. I think we
And
definitely
look
are.
at the laws we're passing. Look at the laws we're passing. What other country is talking about this? We don't even have free healthcare. Let's start there.
Ooh, mind you, other countries in Europe, they have paid not only paid maternity leave. I heard that they have paid paternity leave
Paternity
for
leave. Not only maternity, but paternity.
paternity
Both
leave
the parents is there
for
for the
I think
child.
a year, maybe longer.
Yes. Yes. And over here, it's like 3 months.
3 months for the women or men.
Maternity. Yes, maternity. Maternity leave used to be like, I think like 6 to 9 months. And then
Yeah.
it changed to 3 months. And that was under Trump that he changed that. So I'm like, y'all beasting for us to have babies for us to not even be there to take care of the baby. Like, I'm confused.
And then Republicans are so pro-life, but you don't care about Black lives. You don't care about people of color lives. You don't care about all those poor kids in the foster care system.
Animals and potential humans get the most love from Republicans. People who
Yeah.
the almost humans, talking about
Potential
the
humans.
babies, yeah, like halfway humans and animals. Yeah, Republican will fuck you up over them, over those two. Anything else, they don't care about.
All right, we spoke of vasectomies earlier. Speaking of men, more men, in fact, are seeking vasectomies now that the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade. According to the BBC, Google Trends tracked a huge pick in US searches for vasectomy, along with the related search items Roe and abortion. Search volume was even higher in places with trigger laws. A report from telehealth research company Inner Body Research showed searches for where can I get a vasectomy increased by 850% in the days after the news, with biggest jumps in conservative states, Texas, and Florida. One practice in
Hello.
Florida, we were just talking about this. One practice in Florida told CBS News that the number of child-free men getting vasectomies under the age of 30 had doubled since the ruling. Urologists in New York, California, Iowa, and elsewhere have reported similar upticks. Do you have anything else to add? We just spoke about this. Do you think this could
Yeah,
possibly help the issue at hand?
I 100% think that that's exactly what men should be doing, supporting us, and at this time, and going to get your vasectomy. If you are so hell bent on not getting pregnant, not like with your partner, then why, like, if she's not on birth control, if she's not, like, taking her own proper precautions, and you're 100% sure you don't want to have a baby right now, then do that. Like, why is it okay? I feel like if the government held men to the same standard that they're trying to hold women to, like, oh, don't have sex if you don't, like, am I fucking myself? I'm confused. Like, am I, like, I don't.
You can't make a baby by, well, kind of, but not really.
It's not just me. I'm the one
Right.
that has to carry the baby, but it's not just me. And you're talking about all the possible things that I could be, calling me every name in the book because I got pregnant. What about the person who laid down with me? They knew exactly what was happening as well.
It takes two to
Yeah,
tango.
we're not trying to pass the buck, because at the end of the day, that's literally what we're fighting for: our bodies, our choice. So it's definitely about us. But at the end of the day, like, the judgment is so unwarranted if y'all not holding men to that same standard.
Yeah, and I am a little surprised that it was men under the age of 30 searching, like, how to get a vasectomy. I thought it would be over the age of 30 that men would be getting vasectomies, but I think that's good, and I think that could be a possible solution one solution for right now. Because again, like you said, it takes two to tango, and you're surrounding the issue about women, but it affects everyone. Like, it affects the whole, society as
the
a
entire country. Everybody is affected by this. Like, it's not just the women are the only ones who have to make this choice. Like, they very much need support in any choice they make.
Yeah, those are the father's kids too. Is it difficult? Was it ever difficult having these conversations with your boyfriend?
No, I feel like it was a little bit like easier because he's like very educated, honestly. Like, I tell everybody my boyfriend went to Harvard.
That's amazing.
I like telling him I got an educated man. But yeah, he's not like, it's easy to talk to him about these things. Like, he's not dunce. Like, that's literally it.
That's
like
good.
He has a brain.
That's
all it takes, like a simple brain cell to know that what we're talking about is not that complex.
It's
like
not. It's not. And sometimes it's funny that you found out, well, it's not funny, but it's interesting that you heard the news in the barbershop, because a lot of times barbershop is very interesting how those conversations
yeah
go.
exactly. And I just sat in the car. Like, as it happened, I was in the car and I just was like, I literally just kept searching, like, Roe v. Wade overturned. Like, is this really real? Or there's like I needed to see it on CNN, BBC. I needed to see it on the Daily News, Daily Times. I needed to see it on New York Post. I needed to see it on like 6 different sites
just to make sure
know that this was actually happening. Like, I just could not believe it. It's just frightening, honestly. Like, the fact that I could possibly get pregnant in a state where, like, what if you on vacation and your water breaks? And now you're at risk for dying during a pregnancy, but they gotta wait till you go into sepsis in order to take away the baby.
Point. I never thought of that.
What if I was just driving through Tennessee? Like, what if
On a road trip.
And my shit just broke. Like, now I'm fucked because this one state that I'm not even from doesn't respect my body. Like, United States of America is the separated states of America. Because how the fuck is we gonna make
We've
a
never
law for
been
the entire
united.
country and you're gonna let the states figure out what they want to do? That's not what our country name is. It's United States. So when we make a law federal level, all these motherfuckers better comply.
Exactly. Because there's so many states that like I feel like I get why they want states to choose their own thing when it comes to other issues, but then at the same time, it's like everyone knows that all 50 states are never going to be united. They're never going to
All
be
50 states have
unified on one
women.
thing.
All 50 states
Right.
have women. What, like, I really just be speechless when I talk about Roe v. Wade because it's just like I don't even know what to say to you about, like, it's just such a, the United Nations literally has a clause where it's like crimes against humanity is like forcing somebody to have a child. We're literally committing crimes against humanity in the United States of America, and everybody's like,
okay. Literally.
Like, oh, welcome to America. Like, that's what we do here. We violate the fucking laws of the universe and we're American. Like, that's literally it. I don't know.
But I was gonna say like, no, well, your point. There's women in all 50 states, but also we can't even agree on simple things, right? So how do you expect all 50 states with many different types of people and a lot of stuff going on? How do you expect all of us to agree on something like this, on one thing, when you know that
it shouldn't even be up for grabs? Like, we're not talking about what you can eat and what you can't eat, and that's another part of the body digestive system. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about heart health. We're not talking about like something that is a live or die choice. Like, we're literally discussing our uterus. What type of weird shit is that?
Which some men don't even know how it works. And
that's another thing. They're not even educated on the anatomy of a female. Like, there was I did start saving the things that I see on Twitter because I follow like a lot of med pages on Twitter.
Okay.
And they always post like great stats on the amount of men who don't know what the fuck is going on with women. Like, and there was a stat that was like over 70% of men don't even like know that the vagina is like, it has multiple parts, like the double lip, the inside, the clit, the uterus, the cervix, the fallopian tubes. Like, you can give them, and you could give them an entire anatomy model and they would not be able to tell you which is which. They just know the penis goes in here.
And where does that come
from? The penis goes here. Everything else, question mark. Don't know what happens after that, but I stick my dick here. Like,
and where does that come from? Do you think that's like a lack of, you know how like in middle school we're all separated? So like I don't know what's going on in the girls' auditorium, and I like, is that what it is? Like it's a lack of knowledge.
I honestly feel like no, it's not. It's not like, we're not expecting you to know the entire anatomy of a female, but if you're going to be a dickhead to go and talk about it and give us a think piece, I expect you to know where the clitoris is.
Right.
Like, I expect you to know something. Right. At least if you're going to come up here and give me a whole entire speech about why I should or should not be utilizing the uterus that the good Lord gave me. Like,
don't speak on things you don't know. I feel like that's the golden rule.
Like, yeah, it's just literally. And if you don't have nothing good to say, just don't say it. Like, personally, I just feel like I'm not, like, to pro-lifers, like, I can understand that point. Like, honestly speaking, when I first got to college, I think I just turned 18. Yeah, my birthday was 18. I was 18. And I was like a late bloomer. Like, I got my period late. I had sex really late in my life. Like, all my friends were already doing 1,000 things. And I was like, yeah, I'm trying to play ball and go to college. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, it just wasn't on my agenda. So, like, when people used to talk about abortion, I'm like, what? Like, obviously, like, when I have sex, like, obviously I'm going to be conscious about it because I don't want to have a kid. Like, abortion, like, what? Like, I would never kill my child type thing.
Right.
But I always understood in the back of my mind, like, I know there are people that get raped, and I know people that are tortured, and I know people that are just not ready to have a baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it made sense to me, like, okay, these situations, like, is very true. But for me, I'm not doing that. And that's what I feel like people are forgetting. Like, you can very well feel like you're pro-life, but you don't have to tell all the women who are pro-choice, like, oh, fuck you type thing. Like, when in reality, pro-life is part of being pro-choice. Like, that's part
Literally.
of the choice. It's either
Literally.
life or the baby going back to
Literally.
God. That's it.
People
That's
need
part
to
of the
treat it.
choice. How do you just forget that? It's kind of like they're seeing it as like pro-life or pro-death. And that's literally not how it is. We're
Yeah.
fighting for the right to be able to choose. We're not fighting for the right to be able to just use our vaginas as cemeteries. Like, that's not what we're doing. It's not for
No.
fun. Do people know what an abortion is? Do they know how traumatic that experience is? Like, you think bitches is just out here doing that for fun just because
Did y'all
we
see
can?
did y'all see that scene in Euphoria? And she was like crying down the hallway. Cassie, you know, I've seen scenes, or like I was watching Dear White People, and one
I'm
of the
not a
characters had an
Euphoria
abortion.
watcher. I'm sorry to anybody watching this.
Oh,
I
okay,
know
so you don't
about
know what I'm talking
Euphoria. I'm
about.
sorry, y'all.
You know what I'm talking about. But whenever I see a scene, I've, you know, obviously I've never had an abortion, but
Mm-hmm.
whenever I'm watching TV shows and I see a character who's in a tough place and has to get an abortion, and like the creepy music, the dark music comes in, and the character's crying, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it must be, and like just the whole setup. I'm like, oh, it must not be comfortable. It must not be a one and done. And I think that just clicked in my head, like, oh, okay, like this is a tough decision for women. I'm sure, I would hope no woman is just willy nilly, you know, oh, every time I
Just
get pregnant, I'm gonna get
outdoing it.
abortion. Yeah, you
But
know,
even more importantly, even if she was, that's
that's none of
her
my
uterus.
business.
That's
Right.
literally her uterus. Nothing that she's doing is stopping the world.
It's not hurting me. It didn't cause a war. It might now, but
Yeah, right.
but you know, and I just think people need to treat this like parenting. Your
Mm-hmm.
parents raised you a certain way, and my parents made me a certain way. We're still dope people, but we were raised different ways by four different people who had their
Right.
own
Things going
parenting and
on.
environment and childhood trauma and this and that, but we still came out okay. And no one should judge. Oh, Jamilah. Oh, she had sleepovers, but I never. You know what I mean? Like it should.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
treat it like parenting. You know?
I just think it's too much outside influence on something that doesn't need outside influence. It should be between the person who is getting the abortion and the person they lay down with. And it should be that simple. Like, I don't, and then on top of that, it's kind of just like, do you not remember why we made this law in the first place? Like, have you ever seen the documentary Jane about
No, I have not.
it's literally basically about life before Roe v. Wade. It's literally
Wow.
about the women who opened up a clinic and were giving like low down abortions to women, like a nurse. It's a real story. Like, you could look it up. It's like 3 women who got arrested, I think in like Ohio or something. One of those weird ass middle states.
Okay.
And literally like, it was like a nurse and like 2 other people who work in healthcare, and they all knew how to give abortions, and they were literally, they had a whole clinic where they were giving abortions to thousands of women across the US, and they were just coming there for abortions. And like, though they were being safe about it, everybody who left there was not like, they didn't get 100% certified. Nothing else is happening to you after this, no side effects abortion. And you got women traveling from Florida, from Oregon, from Idaho, from Connecticut. Like, there's so many women around the country who are going to be affected by this, and the fact that like, you're making them revert to underground clinics again to do this where you know it's unsafe. It's kind of like you're just subjecting them to death, but you're pro-life. Like, that's why that saying pro-life is just so like ill to me, because it's like you're not pro-life because
You don't care.
you don't care about life. Like, you only want to control this. That's it. You only want to control what's happening inside of me. You literally have no right.
That's so true. And
Like,
I hope.
if I got on a plane and went to the UK, my baby would be of none of your concern anymore. You would not care what happened to my child at all. Not even remotely.
Things have to
And
change.
if I was so pro-life, the funny thing about that being America is that America's military is like one of the militaries in the world that has like so many babies around the world as well, like who are military children who are unclaimed. If we're really being pro-life
Yes, that happened
and
in the
let's take
Korean
care of our
War.
babies, listen, there's a lot of babies around the world who are without daddy right now because of the same America that's telling their mom they should have just never had him in the first place. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't like not claim a child after you force somebody to have the kid. Like, come on. What? I don't understand. It's just so many it's so much condescendence in making the law, especially with like how the times are now with like so much social media and so much like spotlight on what's happening. You got to be really careful about like what you say. And I feel
Right.
like the people who made the laws just wasn't careful, like at all. Like they didn't think it
No,
through or anything like that. Like, how are we now having a case about the first medically necessary abortion since Roe v. Wade? They all are medically necessary. Like, most of them are medically necessary.
because if the procedure is not done correctly, she could die, right? The woman could
Yes,
die.
and what people forget too, like, it's not just about abortion. Is not just like okay, so abortion is also like, there's two different ways to describe abortion. There's abortion where like you're actually terminating a pregnancy, like you're doing it, and a
Okay.
miscarriage is also another form of abortion where your baby's life has been terminated. That's also a form of abortion.
And you go to the doctor to.
And you go to the doctor to get it like vacuumed out. That's literally how it happens. They vacuum your insides out.
Wow.
And like, it's just, why would you think somebody wants to do that for fun? Like, it's clearly medically necessary. And then on top of that, my real point was, when people are going to get like in labor and they're having the baby, and it's like comes down to a choice between the mother and the child, that is also a form of abortion. But the fact that now all abortion is suspect in some states, women who are on the bed who's had a completely healthy pregnancy can now die because a complication happened. And because abortion is just not legal in there, it's like, oh, okay, well, we have to wait for her to go into sepsis, which is like organ failure, complete organ failure, and then we can save her.
So you're
You
putting her
wasted
at
her to
risk
have the
to die,
child, and now the mom is not going to be there when the child is here.
which is gonna cause more problems. Like I just don't. Yeah, this
I
is
don't
gonna.
get it.
I'm definitely gonna cover.
It's literally a place to, it just makes more issues. Like, I don't see how it solves anything. It just makes more problems.
It's creating more issues.
Yeah, I
And I
don't even
think
got enough space to house the immigrants that come here. Like, y'all have kids
immigration,
in
yeah.
cages at the border, and you're trying to populate more kids into the US. Take care of the ones we got now, and then maybe we could talk about something after. Like,
Right. No, yeah, I think something needs to change. Joe Biden, Kamala, like, come on. I think things need to change. I'm sure AOC is probably like, going crazy right now, trying to change this because this needs to change. It's ridiculous. I don't get it, and I hope something does change. I hope that people do care about women's rights in the government soon, if ever. And it's definitely a
right.
topic I will definitely cover again on the podcast because it's
I think they
important.
should just listen more to doctors. There's this I'm actually gonna find it for you right now so that I'm not just saying, oh, there's another doctor I follow, because I literally,
Oh yeah,
so there's a page called OBs
OB.
for
Okay,
RJ, OBS for RJ, obstetricians for RJ, which is reproductive justice. And
okay,
I follow them, and one of the main founders is Dr. Heather. I don't really know her last name. I just call her Dr. Heather because I feel like we're besties at this point. Um, but yeah, and she's literally like one of the major people trying to fight back against the government, like protesting outside of senators' houses and talking at the White House and trying her best to like change what's happening in America. And it's not just her, it's her and like 3 other doctors. And they're all OBs. And they're all trying to just fight for reproductive justice because they know better than anybody, as people who have been in the obstetrician business for a minute. It's like they know the dangers of not allowing people to have an abortion. Like, I'm pretty sure they've seen almost every possible case about when abortion is needed. These are people who have 20 years under their belt taking care of women. They know women better than anybody in politics will ever know. Like, they need to listen to their doctors. That's another thing that I feel like was weird about Roe v. Wade. The fact that you, as politicians who have no experience on what's medically necessary or why abortion should be legal in a medical state, just making laws, and then us as medical professionals, we have to follow it. Like I'm sorry, I took an oath to protect and to do no harm. And if I let this woman go into sepsis, that's harm. Like, I'm sorry that your laws don't cover me for that.
And as an elected official, your job is to serve and protect the community and the state, and you're not doing that.
And they don't. It's just sad, honestly. But they got to take doctors' advice. They got to listen to doctors. They got to listen to women. Like, it can't be. It can no longer be just we made the law and that's it, and you're gonna have to like stick with it.
No, because
it has to be like loud. You know what I mean? And because so many people, just like were initially like enraged by it. Like, what's that lady's name? Let me not say her name wrong. Hold on, because I know it is who I think it is.
Yeah, I wonder who it is. Yeah,
I'm not good with politician names, like not at all. But there's a woman.
She's black?
No, she's white, and she's a Democrat. And when it first passed, like, she literally was outside the White House, like, at loss for words. Like, I can't even believe they did this. Like, what the, like, she literally was just like, she couldn't even believe that we were talking about this. And I'm like, these are the type of women that we need to keep in politics. People who are going to call them out on their bullshit, where it's like, what? You want to overturn what? Like, actually, I'm going to vote no on that. Like, not women who are going to feed into the patriarchy. Like, the women who voted for Roe v. Wade, I just feel like it was the ultimate betrayal.
It's like pick me. It's like pick me energy.
Yeah. Exactly, pick me energy. Because why would you? I don't know. I don't know. Like, I literally don't know. And it's kind of just like beating on a dead horse, because I feel like these are things that should not need to be explained. Like, I shouldn't have to explain to you the importance of allowing women to get an abortion. I literally shouldn't have to explain that to you. The way people preach about like vaccines and the COVID-19 stuff, it's like, yeah, I should have that same energy for women. The way y'all thought it was, y'all told us it was necessary for this and necessary for that, and we need to do this, and where's that haste for all the things that women go through while they're pregnant?
And it's like, women are so important on just like a fundamental level. Women are so important to this world, to society. So it's like, why aren't they being protected?
Child, I was saying to my boyfriend the other day, like, I feel like us as Black women, we have some power that like gets unlocked at a certain day, at a certain hour or something, and they're just keeping their best. They're doing everything in their power to just like never let them discover that they're superheroes, because the hate that we get is just, it's unwarranted. There's something there that we don't know about that they clearly know, that has been like erased or something, because I can't fathom why there's so much hate for women, and more specifically like Black women. Like, that's the saddest thing about Roe v. Wade being overturned. Sally and Miss Jenny and Marianne are gonna have enough money to go to these states to go get their abortion. Daddy's gonna fly them out on their private jet, and they're gonna go get their abortion. or they're lucky enough to live in a state already where abortion is legal. All you're doing is hurting Black and brown women who don't have the funds to go to these states,
coming from
who
low income
already don't even have healthcare in their own state to get the abortion.
Right.
You're not
Coming
hurting
from
anybody but low income people. And that's the worst part about Roe v. Wade. It's not just women, it's more importantly Black women that you're hurting. Black and Latino women. Like,
and what's interesting is that I heard somewhere that it's white women that are getting more abortions than women of color.
Because they teach you like, oh, you better not be having sex. Like, it's an early thing spoken about to women. Like, oh, you go to college, you better focus on college, focus on your books, don't worry about men. White women make it known that they're in college to get married. Like,
oh, I saw that on Twitter. Yeah.
like they make it their business. Yeah, exactly. That conversation on Twitter, it's true. Yeah. They make it their business to know that you know, we have white female friends that from going to Iona, we know what these bitches be doing. Like,
yes, dating to marry.
Honestly, dating to marry, going around having sex with XYZ, and I would not be surprised if that in fact is true, that white women get more abortions than Black and brown women, especially because they can afford it. That's the thing. Abortion is not free on anybody's health insurance.
And then if we want to,
y'all saying it like y'all was paying for this shit all along. You wasn't. Like,
right.
You acted like it was on your dime. You never were paying for this type of thing. And then coming for like Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood does do so much more than abortions. Like, so much more. And then to attack them first is just so sad, because like any woman who has ever been to Planned Parenthood for anything has encountered a Planned Parenthood protester. And they are so fucking aggressive. Like, so aggressive. They literally, like, for some reason, every Planned Parenthood in the world is built on the smallest block possible, because the sidewalk be like right there.
No,
you're in front. You're in line. And now it's worse because it's COVID. So now you're really in line outside. And this person is right here with the sign, screaming at the top of their lungs, pro-life, pro-life, save the babies, save the babies. Like,
mind you, that girl is just
mind you, it be men. It be men out there. Like, my girl, you want to be a woman so bad. Like, why you care what we doing here?
And you're so angry at these women. Mind you, you don't even know if these women are just getting to go get a checkup.
Planned Parenthood does so much more than that. They have contraceptives. They do STD testing. They do, if I'm not mistaken, they do like breast checkups. They do so much more than just abort.
Yeah. Ooh, switching gears to a lighter note.
Yes. But
you posted on your Instagram page that you took your MCAT recently. How did that go?
So I took it the first time, and I took the MCAT twice. I took it the first time, and I got a 497. And the second time I took it, I got a 499. So I'm happy that I did better the second time. But I just feel like I could have done way better. I don't know. Like, I feel like it's just a little weird to say like, oh, I'm just not a good test taker. But that's really just what it is. I feel like I'm always trying to catch them, trying to catch me, and they still catch me. Like, you know. So, but
what score honestly, are you trying to get?
So my top choice is Howard. 10 out of 10 is Howard.
Okay.
Howard is my top choice. I really want to go there. I want to be surrounded by peers that look like me, people who can give me a lot of insight on what it is to like be a Black doctor in America. You know what I mean? So that's my top choice right now. I'm really hoping I hear back from them. I love everything about their program. They already make like 25% of all the Black doctors in the United States. So yeah, I'm trying to be part of that Howard legacy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I also like Arizona. They have like a nice program it's called the UCP, the Underserved Commitment to Underserved People. It's called the CUP, not the UCP, CUP. And yeah, I'm trying to look for schools that do community work. Like, I don't want to be at a school that's
like
I'm just servicing. Yeah, like I'm just servicing rich people. You can keep it. I don't care. I'm good off that.
Yeah.
But
and in order to get into those schools, you need a higher score than what you have.
you definitely need a higher score. Like, I would definitely say to anybody, like, it's not the best score ever, but quite frankly, like, I'm not gonna let it stop me, because I'm me. Like, it's more to the story than just the MCAT score, and I'm hoping that like the schools that I apply to can see that. because it's not an accurate reflection of who I am. So, but yeah, it was tough. Like I definitely feel like it was the hardest test I ever took in my life, both times.
Wow.
Yeah, and shout out to Dr. Kong and Dr. Diversa for giving us those hard tests in Iona. But even then, MCAT is nothing like I've ever seen before.
What is
Yeah, it's just
it?
a really it's a hard. So the MCAT is actually a 7-hour exam. It's like 230 questions on the exams, four
Ooh.
different sections. Yeah, so the first section is chemistry and like physical chemistry, so like physics. Second section is cars, which is like critical reasoning, analysis skills. And then the third section is biology and biochemistry. And then the fourth section is psychology and sociology. And yeah,
What was the
all of
hardest
them.
section for you, or was it all the
The
sections?
hardest section for me, honestly, was the car section. Like that's always the hardest section to me because it's about things that are not science, which I really like. I just don't care about. Like
The psych one?
no. The critical analysis and reasoning skills is
Oh.
basically like it's 9 passages basically about topics outside of science. So you got like philosophy, history, geography, arts, politics, like all those
Oh,
different
okay.
passages are on the test basically, and you have to be able to read those passages and then answer like a set of questions about them that using only what they gave you in the passage type thing, like nothing else. And like it sounds just like a regular like walk in the park, but like the answer choices they be so close to each other, and you really gotta like critically analyze what the author is trying to say to you. And then on top of that, it's time. So it's an hour and a half to complete 9 passages, and it's 53 questions. So that's not even like 2 minutes a question, for being honest. Like you got
Wow.
to be moving on this test. That's the thing. Like I always say to my friends, like if I had like an extra hour on the MCAT, I definitely feel like I would have been better because the time it
It's like
really
the
slaps
SAT
you.
almost.
Yes, it really slaps you hard. So that's why I was like, yeah, this test kind of like kicked my ass. I'm not even gonna lie, but
Mm.
most people do take it more than once. Some people even take it like 3 times.
No, that's
It definitely kicked my ass. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but I'm just learning that like as like somebody who now works like in healthcare with like providers and stuff, and um we see other people who are in healthcare, like some nurses come to the urgent care and stuff, and I talk to them, and they just they really make me feel like I know why I'm doing this. Like it's way bigger than a test. Like this is not
mm,
why I went to become a doctor so I could take the MCAT and feel like, oh my God, I did an MCAT. Like, oh my God, like, I'm gonna be the greatest doctor ever. Like that's not why I'm doing it, girl. I don't care about that stupid ass test. I care about how I make my
right.
patients feel. And that's why like I'm gonna move forward with applying. Like I'm not gonna let it stop me because I really do have the greatest patient encounters that really remind me why I'm doing what I'm doing.
And you have a passion
Um,
for it, and you did good
yeah,
in
exactly. And
school.
I'm just not gonna
Yeah.
let a test score tell me, like, I'm not gonna let you tell me I'm not ready for medical school because I can't pass the test.
No, and
No. And there's no correlation to how you do a medical school to the test. So now I'm even more like,
thing it's so different. Like my
no.
mom always talks
Like,
about.
no.
My mom is a for those listening, she's an emergency room nurse at Mount Vernon Hospital,
Hmm.
and she's trying to become an RN, studying for her NCLEX. And it's just so interesting how like what she learned in school, it's so different when she's at work. It's like I'm doing all the like it's they want you to know the calculations and the formulas and all this stuff,
Yeah.
but then at work it's a computer doing it for
It's
you.
complete, exactly. And not saying that like it's not helpful for people to, like, one time when I was at work, the computer shut down and the doctors had to do like actual conversions between how much somebody weighed and the amount of dosage they give them. And it was amazing to see them calculate that. Like, oh shit, you really remember that?
Wow,
Like, yo,
yeah,
that's fire. Like that, it was fire to me. Like, yo, you just calculated this little kid's weight to how much they gotta, and that's not a crazy conversion, but it's like, yo, you didn't remember how to do that. That's fire. Like,
right.
without a computer, definitely a lost art that I feel like you will not be able to get back, especially like now that robots are doing like surgery for people. So yeah, but
Yeah,
I think it's a really good art to have, like that independence and that like back knowledge that I feel like is kind of missing in some of the new doctors today. Um, Definitely different because like I work with like older attendings versus like younger attendings, and I feel
okay,
like there is a little bit of a difference between like people who are relying heavy on like tech and then people who are still like, okay, like stuck in their ways. There are like a little pros and cons to both, honestly. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
just, I don't believe that a test is going to tell you exactly who I am, and I'm not going to let them tell me that that's what it is. So,
because would they want the opposite? Oh, she's great in school, great academically, but
but you
then she don't
can't
know how to
talk to
talk to
people.
people.
And that's literally what it was. I actually met, so when I was working in the urgent care, I met the director of nursing at Hackensack Hospital, and she was talking to me. She was like, and I met an eye doctor, I met a cardiovascular nurse, I met so many
Wow.
people who's working there, and they all, like, not to toot my own horn, but they all tell me like, you're really good at this, like it's natural for you. And I'm like, baby, why would I be scared talking to people? Like, I'm not scared of you. Like, you don't intimidate me. I know why you're here. And another thing is, like, people, when I'm talking to them, they're like, oh my God, like, you make me feel comfortable. Like, girl, we at a doctor's office. I would hope you're comfortable. I don't want you to be uncomfortable. I want you to feel good. I want you to know that when you leave here, you're gonna feel better. Or like, you know what I mean?
That's so important.
It's just such a stigma in medicine. And I feel like if you they'll let you second guess yourself, then you're gonna like contribute to the cycle of what is happening. Like if I was like, oh yeah, oh my God, I can't do this, like it's all about the test. When I go to medical school, it's gonna be all about the test. I don't really care about this patient interaction because I know that I need to pass the test. I need to pass the test. It's a test. It's a test. It's a test. Like I don't want to. I don't want to be that person.
No,
I'm sorry. Like I never want to lose my personality. I never want to lose the love that I have for patients and why I'm doing this.
no, that's so true. That's so true. And it's like, I think the medical school program needs to spend a longer time. You don't, but I think the medical school program needs to spend a longer time teaching people bedside manner because
Yes, yes, teaching people bedside manner, and more importantly, not even teaching them bedside manner, but teaching them just how to have some empathy. Like, how are
yeah.
you? How are you working in one of the most patient-facing fields, and you can't even stand to have a conversation with people?
Like look me
Like
in my
there's
eye when
in
you
my
give me a
eyes.
diagnosis.
Yes, there was a one of the doctors I work with at the urgent care. He's kind of like he's like very like fast. Like I
Mm.
always joke like he puts the urgent in urgent care. And literally like I admire the fact that he's like quick and he gets the patients in and out. But I always feel like I'm gonna spare these 3 minutes to talk to this woman about her job. I swear I am. Like, just want to give me the tea on at work. I'm taking the tea. I'm sorry to the patient in the waiting room, but if you want to come in and have this experience too, you're going to have to wait those extra 3 minutes. I have no problem doing it. Like the
Children
other
get
day,
treated so well, as they should. Why can't adults? You know?
exactly. Like you want to make kids feel good, and you know what I mean. But it's like you can't just erase that when they get older.
Oh, he's
Like they still the
18.
same patients that come and see you. You know what I mean? And also another thing that I feel like I learned working in medicine is like people who come see you most of the time they're just like scared because they're sick. They don't know what is going on. And people who work in medicine kind of get like frustrated, like, oh my God, like obviously XYZ, like, oh baby, they don't know that. Like that's not common knowledge. You know what I mean? Like the
Like,
guy came in the other day and he was COVID positive, and he was given Paxlovid, and it's basically the COVID medication, but it does have some side effects and it can cause rebound COVID, meaning you'll get the COVID again. And he didn't know that. And when he was asking for it, I told him like, hey, like I'm not a medical professional. I can't really give you like medical advice, but like you should think about like if you're willing to risk getting COVID again. Like do your research on the medication and then let us know. Like because he's like, oh, I don't know, like, what do you think? What do you think? And I'm like, it's not my body. Like, it's your body. I'm going to give you the information that you need to know, and then you can make a choice for yourself, and I'll do what you said. Like, it's that simple. And he's like, oh, I didn't know, like, if it was just, like, stupid or anything. I'm like, there's no stupid questions in a doctor's office. I love to tell them that. There's no stupid questions in a doctor's office, because how would you know if you don't ask? Like,
yes.
how would you know if you don't ask?
And
You
if you
just
can't
literally
ask your
wouldn't.
doctor, who are you supposed to ask? You're supposed to go on the internet?
People like doctors who get frustrated at patients for asking questions. It's like, okay, well, if you feel like you're tired of people, then guess what? You need to leave the industry because this is people facing. We're talking to
Hate
people all
that.
day. Like the same way we tell politicians, like, oh, you're getting old. you need to retire. Doctors, go home. Like, you don't need to.
Yes, no, that's so true. Like, I hate when, like, it's like I'm wrapping up an appointment, and then oh, what about this, and what about that, Mr. Wilson?
My thing
I
is
already
like,
explained
yes.
that. Like, why are you?
My thing is like, I hate when they have that. Like, I know you already explained it, and I'm asking you again. Like,
Right.
you saying it like I didn't hear you when you explained it the first time. I absolutely did, but I want you to repeat it for my understanding. And I feel like that's just, I don't know, the patience factor when it comes to like medicine is just very disappointing.
Very disappointing. And it's like,
And being somebody who works in medicine all the time, like, it just sucks that that's kind of just like the environment. Like, people are, they don't care. And it's not that they don't care, it's because they're getting absolutely fucking ripped apart
right
by administration. And
Oh.
now they have to deal with you who come in and ask stuff that they think is common knowledge. And it's just that you have to reset and know that it's not common knowledge. Like, this is what you signed up for. Like, I always tell people, don't work jobs you don't like.
Yes,
I say that for anybody.
I saw your Instagram.
Don't work jobs you don't like. Like,
yes.
When I have a bad food service worker, I literally tell them, like, I didn't apply to Wendy's.com. Like, I didn't go to Wendy's.com, click apply, and say I'm gonna apply here because I don't want to work here. When I worked in food service, I worked at restaurants that I was okay working at. People just accept things for money, and that's just not me. Like, I'm not gonna work somewhere just because I need the money. If I don't like it there, I'm out.
That was my mindset. I was working.
That's one thing I got. I mean, my ancestors, we apart from that because I'm not staying anywhere for the sake of money.
Who or what made you want to be an OB-GYN and to get into medicine?
So nobody really like specifically inspired me to become like an OB. I just feel like, so my big thing is like, I want to open like a free clinic in the community that I grew up in. That's always been like a dream of mine.
Love that.
There's literally a clinic right across the street from the basketball court that I used to play in, and it's affiliated with one of the Bronx health hospitals. And it's just not in service, but it's literally like a clinic. And my dream is like to buy it and have a clinic coming out of there, basically. And I just thought that, like, of course I want to service my community. Like, primary care is nice, you know what I mean? It doesn't pay the best, but it is what I want to do. You know what I mean? And I was just like, what field would I feel like I could be the best of myself in? Like, where can I be pro women, pro Black, pro everything that I am? And I'm like, it's definitely OB-GYN. Like, I can advocate for women like myself and women who look like me to get that proper healthcare.
Right.
And I thought at first my dream would be like emergency medicine, until I was actually like in the emergency room, and I'm like, okay, like, I kind of don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to do stitches all day and see
trauma.
Yeah, no, the trauma I like that's
okay.
one thing that is different. So that's one thing that I learned as well. Emergency doctors and trauma doctors are two different people. Trauma is like gunshot wound, car accident. They're coming down for the real juicy ER stuff.
Okay.
ER doctors are like, you come to the ER for something that's not life-threatening, they see you. And I realized, like, I like trauma. I think trauma is where I want to be, not just an ER doctor.
Okay.
If I had the choice. So I'm kind of like lingering between trauma, OB-GYN. I like both of them. But like I said, for the same reasons I said before, I feel like it's OB-GYN for me. It's the place where I could be most authentically myself, and I could be be a spokesperson for people around me. Like, as the only like friend in the friend group studying like medicine, well, not in my like science friend group. I have two very good friends who hold me together, Jalen and Brittany. Shout out to my girls. We all want to be OBs.
Oh, I love that.
Or pediatricians, yeah. Something that is gonna allow us to give back to the community, women and children, of course.
That's so important.
Yeah, so might have a little business prop coming up, soon. So, but anyways, being like the only one in like a lot of my other friend groups as studying medicine, like a lot of the female things that happen to us, they all come to me. Like, people have left Iona and went to other colleges and still text me like, yo, my period's late XYZ, or I have this color discharge XYZ, I need your help. What does this mean? Somebody even made like a fake page and wrote me from it. It was like, hey, one of my friends always like praises you in terms of like female health, and they told me you would be able to help me with the problem that I'm having. She sent me a picture of what was going on with her. And I told her, like, I'm not a medical professional. Like, I'm not a doctor yet. Like, my word is not the holy grail. But I gave her like honest advice about what she should do based off what I know. And it just made me feel mad good. Like, I was literally out eating with my boyfriend and his boss. And I felt like, damn, I want to pay attention to what they're talking about. Like, you know, I don't want to do a bad like impression.
Right.
But it was so important to me to respond to her because I'm like, damn, she's really trusting me with her body right now. And it made me feel really, really good. Like, I don't know, like stuff like that is definitely why I do what I do. I want people to feel like they can come to a medical professional and ask questions. Like the stigma that exists where they're like, oh, I can't ask it because it's a stupid question. Like, no, there's no stupid questions in the doctor's office. No stupid questions, especially not in my doctor's office. Like, hey girl, what we talking about today? Like, you want to talk about the latest tea on Instagram? We can talk about that before we get to whatever makes you comfortable.
I love that. No, that's
like I want to be relatable to all my patients. And then there's patients that I have like, there's actually this white guy and his wife who comes to the urgent care. I was trying to tell my boyfriend the story. I hope you're listening, because I was trying to tell him the story earlier today. But this old white guy, he came the first time and he was coming in out of triage, and it's because he does like a lot of yard work, and he snapped his hand in the middle of a ladder, so he had like a big laceration across his hand, whatever. He came in, he got it stitched up and everything, and when we were talking, he was talking about like Roe v. Wade. Honestly, like when we first got in there, him and his wife, because his wife complimented on my crock piece, I have a uterus, and it says mind your own uterus. So that's like one of my crock pieces. And she was like, I love that crock piece. Like, yeah, like fight the patriarchy. Like, don't, she's like, yeah, don't ever settle for stuff. She's like, we have 4 daughters and we let them travel the world and do what they do. And one of their daughters was like a zoologist. Another one was like, she just went around the world taking pictures of animals. And another one was a lawyer. And another one was, I think she was a photographer with the other one. But he was just explaining to me about what their kids do, and he's like, yeah, like I can't believe the state of the world and like all the crimes that's happening. Like they were very woke for old white people who you would have thought would have been racist people, you know what I mean?
Trump supporters. Yeah,
and it was just such a refreshing conversation. So when people come in for a laceration, they got to come in for a wound checkup, and they have to come in for the removal of the stitches. So when he left that day, he was like, I'm gonna make it my business to like remember your name. Like you were so good to us. And they just complimented my demeanor. It made me feel really good. Like I love patient compliments. Like, yes, tell me that I changed your view on medicine in America. Please tell me I did something. You know what I mean? But he came back to get his stitches removed, and I put him in the room and everything, and he was like, oh my God, like, I feel so bad. I can't remember your name. Like, I can't remember your name, but I remember you from last time. Like, and you're the girl that helped us. And I was like, yeah. So we were talking, and he ended up leaving. And it was funny because literally yesterday he came again to get his stitches out this time. And when him and his wife, when I seen him on the board, I called his name. I was like, look at my grandpa. Like, and I went and I saw him. And when they came in, the wife was like, hi, Jamilah. I was like, oh my gosh, you know my name.
That's crazy.
So good. And I was like, yo, I cannot believe this lady and her husband really remember my name. Like, I'm that day grandchild now. Like, oh my God. So, but yeah, so it just was amazing. I'm like, that's really why I do it. Like, I want to feel good when I go to work. I want to make an impact every day when I go to work. Like, I don't want to have a day I come home and I'm like, oh, this shit was, I hated it. I hated my shift. Like, there's always one patient every day. My boyfriend can tell you, I come home with like 700 stories. I get home, I clock out at 9, I come home at 9:15. I'm still talking to him at 10:15 about work. He be like, baby, you talk a lot. I'm like, I know I talk a lot. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Like,
I love that. No, but you're gonna, I think, no, we always used to say it at Iona, like Dr. Soul, like that was Jamila's nickname. I think you're gonna be a great doctor. I think it's so important to foster those relationships because it really makes a difference. And I wouldn't be surprised if you inspired your friends or just people watching to become doctors and go into the medical field because
Yeah,
we
I
need
will
doctors
always
like that.
say, yes, there's like the actual organization who like certifies the doctors project that there's going to be like a physician shortage of like 100K. Though the MCAT
Wow.
is hard as hell, like you properly prepare for it, you'll be fine. Like I can honestly say, like I could have prepared better. And now that I'm on the other side of things, I see like a lot of the things that I did wrong, but I don't regret anything. I feel like everybody's path is their own, and I definitely encourage a lot of people who are interested in medicine to, like, if you don't want to become a doctor, you feel like it's too much for you. There's PAs, there's nurse practitioners, there's so many different positions now that you could just get into the fight. You know what I mean? And I feel like the more we diversify the field, not only just doctors, all different positions of healthcare, like it's going to make a difference in patient health outcomes. And that's the biggest thing for us. Like we want to make sure that the health of Black and brown communities increase. Like we're tired of being underserved.
And I
So
always talk
yeah.
about, yeah, I always talk about representation on screen in the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
but we need representation in not only in politics, but in the medical field too.
Child, you know, less than 5% of doctors in the entire US is Black, and only 2% of that is Black women. Like
That's crazy.
that's worrisome. Yes, that's worrisome.
That's
Like
crazy.
there's probably a whole area, like a whole 50-mile area where there's not one Black doctor in sight. Like actually, I live in Jersey, right? I live like Fort Lee area. And I was looking up a dermatologist in my plan network and I clicked Black, and one out of 605 people popped up as one Black dermatologist in the entire like New York, New
Wow.
Jersey area who takes my insurance.
And that's even
I was
more
like, I don't even
surprising
got a
because
choice. I don't even got a choice between like 5 people that I could pick between. Like it's just this one woman that take my insurance. Like that sucks.
and that's even more
That
surprising
really
because it's
sucks.
New Jersey, it's not Idaho. So I would think there would be more. Wow.
I'm like, did they just not upload their like their race? Like I don't understand why I can't find a Black dermatologist.
Doesn't make no sense. No, yeah. What scared me was the that Hulu documentary about black maternal mortality. I don't know if you saw
Mm-hmm.
that.
No,
Um,
I did not watch it. I'm not even gonna say a lot to you. I did not watch it, but I'm pretty sure whatever they talk about in there is something I already know about
I need to have an
because
episode on that.
it's just it's horrible.
The
Like
rates that black women are
it's
dying.
literally horrible because it's like I just don't understand why people who have kids could ever be at risk when we have the amount of healthcare we have here in America. Like it doesn't make sense why people can't just be healthy when they have a kid. Like why is it determinant on their race still how healthy them and their kid will be? We
Because you
literally live
think
in
black
America.
women
We
can handle
literally
the
live
pain.
like we should be a kingdom in America. I'm not even gonna lie. Like we should have like castles and the amount of money we got here, we should be providing that American dream that y'all so
That
are
y'all
hell bent on
talk
selling.
about.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
that should not even be a thing here.
it should. I heard again on Twitter, we're a third world country with a Gucci belt on
And a Montclair coat.
and a
Like,
Montclair coat. Yeah,
because
because you look at other countries, they've had not president, but they've had women prime ministers. They've
yeah,
had
they've had women in power in some way, shape, or form. America's not doing that. Like, that's really the bigger overarching thing of this conversation. How women in America are like not respected. Like away from race, away from everything. Women in America
women.
are not respected. America is very much a man's country, which can be said about a lot of countries in the world, but America is very like they're getting very out with it now, especially with the Roe v. Wade overturning, and now they're questioning contraceptives and like, come on, it's too much. We have more autonomy than y'all are leading us to believe.
Ooh, we could have like a 4 hour conversation on
We'll be here till tomorrow talking about this. Like literally, we going on 2 hours talking about these people in America,
I can't.
and that's literally why like again my boyfriend, he definitely is about to be making his appearance in the story again, but one of his mentors went to school in the Caribbean and he basically did a rotation at a women's hospital in London, and I'm like, imagine what it's like to be a doctor in another country. Like they will be lining up at your door But here in America, you just, girl, we don't care about you. Like, yeah, you save lives, but anyways, we don't care about you. Like, you're responsible for the state of health of the whole country. However, we don't care about you. But more importantly, like, he got experience in a different country and seeing different things that I know for a fact we will never see here in America.
Which I'm sure was so rewarding to see
Yeah,
how other
yeah,
countries are handling their health issues. Or
yeah.
lack of
Especially
health
their
issues.
women's health issues. Like, he worked at one of like the number one hospital in London on his
Wow.
rotation, and it's like, wow, like, you're working at a women's only hospital in a different part of the world. I know they were doing different things there because they do, Brigham's Women's Hospital in Connecticut. I mean,
I
is it
think
in
I've heard
Connecticut? No,
of
I'm
it.
lying. That's in Massachusetts. Let me not lie. It's definitely in Boston, Massachusetts.
I think I've heard of it.
And yeah, and a girl from Iona, she had her baby there, and she's like, yeah, they like served me breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they had like a little bit of yoga and the TV and
What?
XYZ. And I'm like, did you go to a spa or were you in labor? Like, that's a privilege that Bronx hospitals will never see. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they didn't kick you out in 2.5 seconds after your baby was ready to go. Like, wow.
That is not happening in Jacoby Hospital.
They really care about you. Child, people don't even know Albert Einstein is a medical school. Do you know that?
I did.
Albert Einstein Hospital in the Bronx, it's a whole medical school.
I
I told one of my friends that, and they was like, he was like, what? It's a school? Like, yes, it's a school. It's a whole entire medical school sitting dead in the middle of the Bronx. Shout out Kanai. Dead in the middle of the Bronx. And people don't know about that. Like, that's just, yeah.
This country got to do better. Speaking of medical people, do you have a favorite medical show? There's The Good Doctor, Grey's Anatomy.
I do like The Good Doctor. I do like The Good Doctor. I actually haven't been watching it as of late, but I did start it, and it was one of the shows that I actually like. But Grey's Anatomy, like, everybody loves Grey's, like, because it's Grey's. I haven't watched it since they killed off Derek. Sorry, spoiler to anybody who hasn't watched Grey's Anatomy,
so
but I have not watched it.
Ago.
Yes, when Shonda killed Derek, me and her relationship was over because I don't understand why she would do that. For his little fake angel moment. Nah, I need Derek back in the flesh, girl. I need him doing the surgery that Meredith is assisting on. You know what I mean? But I like that show. I like Chicago Med is a good show too. My sister put me onto that show. I like that one. And Scrubs. Scrubs was mad good, like, when it was out.
I never saw Scrubs. You
gotta watch it. It's funny. It's actually a funny show. Like, they do good. And they a little bit more accurate with the medical details than Grey's Anatomy. Grey's be a little left field with some of the stuff they be saying, but Scrubs a little more.
I was gonna ask you that because a lot of times these medical shows or law shows don't get it right. There was one scene I was watching with my mom where she was like, this one doctor, she was an OB-GYN, I think Karina, I think that's her name. She said, oh, like, you're over the age of 35, you're having a geriatric pregnancy. And my mom was like, pause the TV.
Geriatric?
That is not true.
Right, geriatric.
And I was like, oh, so what is it supposed to be called? And she's like, I don't know, but it's not that.
Geriatric is like over 50. 35 is just the age where they tell women, like, you're kind of at risk if you haven't had a baby yet because your body is starting to, like, change. And it's just not true. Women getting pregnant at 40 something. Like,
my mom was like, who wrote that episode?
She literally Googled it, like, hold on, there's something a little wrong here.
Who wrote that?
But yeah, no, I like some medical shows. I'm not too big on, like, the medical shows, to be honest. Like, I'm more of an action show watcher. I love action. But like Grey's Anatomy is definitely, I love Power. Okay. I was just saying, I'm gonna feel mad stupid saying this again, but me and my boyfriend, we were just talking about how, like, we need to just apply for shows, like, just as a fun thing, like applying to shows to be on them. Like game shows, acting, and TV shows you watch 1,000 hours of. Like,
I can see you guys on Family Feud.
We just do something random, like, so. Yeah, but I love Power. Like, Power is 10 out of 10.
So good. I watched Ghost, but I didn't watch Kanan or Tommy.
Oh no, you gotta watch Kanan.
I heard it's good.
It's actually really one of the good ones from, like, you know how like he 50 Cent like to drag power a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, yeah.
Kanan is packed with a punch. Every episode is actually really, really good, building up to the plot. And the last episode that came out is fire. Like I'm actually beasting for the new one to come out.
I need to watch it. My
So
dad's
yeah.
like, you need to watch Kanan. I'm like, I know. No, yeah, I gotta watch that one.
It's really good. It's really good. Trust and believe. It sure is.
And then apparently they're gonna make one with Councilman Tate.
Yes, I seen that one. I've been looking up the casting dates for that because that's something that I feel like is gonna happen in New York, and they definitely gonna need people.
I
For
feel
that.
like that's gonna be good.
Yes,
Gonna
for
be
sure. Because and I
Seeing
feel like
how
they're gonna talk about a
politics-
lot of stuff. They're gonna talk about a lot of stuff in that show. Power has always been
I love it.
a little woke on they dialogues.
Yes.
They always talk about things, so I feel like they'll definitely talk about a lot of stuff, especially because Councilman Tate is black, and he's kind of like a dirty politician. So
And a former cop. Yeah.
right, it's funny because everybody was like that. That's Eric Adams.
I saw that.
That's Eric Adams, Councilman Tate. Like,
I saw that. No, yeah, that's gonna be a good one. And my last question for you: do you have anything you would like to promote or let us know about? We should keep a lookout for.
Yeah, just follow Hottie Hope. You're gonna document my entire experience. If you feel like we sisters or whatever now after watching this podcast, so we cousins, you know how black people are. They just pick up relatives along the way.
Right.
But if you feel like you can relate to what I'm saying or you enjoy our conversation, just follow Hottie Health. I will be talking about this over and over again. As long as I go to medical school, you will see me doing the damn thing. So yeah, follow Hottie Health.
That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
document everything there. I'm trying to be a better like blogger, influencer. I don't know, these social media things. Like, but if you follow me on like my regular page, you know that I just be having like random rants at random times. So I'm just so not organized to the point where I could be like a nice influencing page. You know what I mean?
Right.
Aesthetically pleasing page.
Like,
I'm so
go
like
like
I'm so
this.
random.
Tips
Exactly.
on and then
Right. I am like not the best when it comes to stuff like that. So yeah, if any of y'all want to give me some pointers, drop that down there. But yeah, I'm just gonna be documenting my journey to becoming an MD, and I hope y'all will follow me. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Be sure to follow Jamilah at hottie.health on Instagram.
Yes.
And we were, very passionate this episode. I know people on social media have been very, angry, rightfully so. But let's turn our anger to action. For ways to help, you can support your local Planned Parenthood organizations at plannedparenthood.org. To support local and independent clinics in states that have abortion bans or restrictions, you can visit keepourclinics.org. To help give resources to patients who need to travel to other states in the U.S. for their abortions, you can visit abortionfund.org. And I'll be sure to list it in the description box below. Be sure to leave a rating for the Cervantes Podcast on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Cervantes Podcast YouTube channel.
Yes.
And make sure to click the notification bell up top so you're notified whenever I upload a new episode. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good one.
Later.